What's up guys? Welcome back to Toon Duelists. Today we're going to show you our Cyber Dragon deck profile. And I'm really excited to show this one to you guys because the Cyber Dragons are just an iconic archetype from the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX era, of course, played by Zane Truesdale in the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX anime. And you can't stress enough how important the Cyber Dragons even were in the evolution of the TCG, because we can really talk about a pre and a post Cyber Dragon era in the TCG, because the original Cyber Dragon just broke the game when it first came out, and it's just an amazing archetype in general. And it's kind of the predecessor of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. I mean, the similarities are obvious. Dragons, even though the Cyber Dragons are machines, of course. But, you know, a big fusion with 3 heads, basically. Kind of sounds familiar, right? Now, in this build, I'm going to show you an OTK version of the deck, because the Cyber Dragons are actually really capable of doing both. They can be amazing going first, but in my opinion, their real potential lies in going second. And with the new support from Alliance Inside, the going second build got even stronger. So, I'd say, without further ado, let's dive right into it. So guys, as always, we start things off with the monsters, and we start off with the core card of the archetype. Of course, I'm talking about 3 copies of Cyber Dragon. Just an amazing card, game changer back in the day, with the simple but powerful effect that if only your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Of course, needed in this deck, and a definite 3 of in a going second build as well. Next up, we're also playing 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Core. Also just amazing card and definite 3 of, because this card has the effect that when it is normal summoned, you can add a cyber spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Also, if only your opponent controls a monster, you can banish this card from a graveyard to special summon a Cyber Dragon monster from your deck. And also, this card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard. So it basically does it all for us. We want to get the search out of the normal summon. It becomes Cyber Dragon on the field and in the graveyard, which is very important for our extra deck, of course. Definite 3 of. Next up, we run 2 copies of Cyber Dragon Hertz. Also, amazing card right here, which is also treated as Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard, and has the effect that if this card is special summoned, you can make this card's level become 5 until the end of this turn, but you can't special summon for the rest of this turn except machine monsters, and if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 other Cyber Dragon from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Now, this card is just amazing because, first of all, it's treated as Cyber Dragon. Very important for this deck, of course, and we can send it to our grave with various other cards and get a search out of it. So 2 is the best ratio, in my opinion. You could possibly cut it down, but you have to keep the balance in this deck between Cyber Dragons, actually, or cards that are treated as Cyber Dragon, and spells and traps, but we'll get into that later. Next up, we also play 1 single copy of Cyber Dragon Nexter. Also, amazing card right here. Also becomes Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard, and has the effect that you can discard another monster to special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is normal or special summoned, you can target a machine monster with 2100 attack or defense in your graveyard and special summon it. Also, you're locked from special summoning except machine monsters, of course. So this card in your hand is just a great extender. You can discard one of your Cyber Dragons or one of your other monsters with 2100 attack or defense, bring this guy out and extend by bringing the discarded card back from the grave. So just great, but it's of course searchable in this deck, and 1 is the best ratio in my opinion. Next up, we talk about the first new card we got in Alliance Inside, which is of course Cyber Jormungandr. Just crazy good artwork in my opinion, and also a crazy good card. Now, this card has the effect that it can't be normal summoned or set, it must be special summoned by card effect, and if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then take a Cyber Dragon from your deck and either special summon it or equip it to this card as a equip spell. Also, you can special summon for the rest of this turn, except machine monsters. You can also return a Cyber Dragon you control to the hand to add a polymerization from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Now, the second effect doesn't bother us, we don't play polymerization in this deck, but of course, in a going second build, this is just amazing. Its special summoning condition is basically a better version of Cyber Dragon, because with the original Cyber Dragon, you're not allowed to control monsters to special summon the original Cyber Dragon, but this one just has the requirement that your opponent has to control a monster. So, really easy right here. Then of course, on summon, it just extends for another Cyber Dragon. You get another level 5 out, basically can straight up go into your Nova and your Infinity, or do any of your other Cyber Dragon shenanigans Just a great card right here. Now a lot of people only play it at 1 or 2, and I can see why, but since this is a going second OTK deck, Jormungandr has to be a 3-of right here. Now that's already it for the Cyber Dragon lineup. Let's talk about the Cyber Dark monsters, and the first one we play is 3 copies of Cyber Dark Claw. Also just an amazing card right here, because this card has the effect that if it is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can target a Cyber Dark monster in your graveyard to add it to your hand. We won't use that one, but it has 2 other effects because we can discard this card to add a Cyber Dark spell and trap from your deck to your hand, and do damage calculation. If a monster equipped with this card battles, you can send a monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. Now we basically only needed to discard so we can add a Cyber Dark spell and trap, so just a searcher right here to get into our Clockwork Knight play. So yeah, definite 3-of right here. Next up, we also play 1 copy of Cyber Dark Chimera. Also amazing card, we want to search it out, so 1 is of course enough, but it has the effect that we can discard a spell and trap to add a power bond from your deck to your hand, and you can only use Dragon or Machine Cyber monsters as fusion material this turn. Also, when you fusion summon this turn, you can banish monsters from your graveyard as material. Now this card is crazy good because it lets you search your power bond. Basically you switch out 1 spell or trap for your power bond, so great one right here. But also, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can send a Cyber Dark monster from your deck to the graveyard with different name from the cards in your graveyard, which is also a great effect considering the next card, which is the brand new Cyber Dark Worm. Also just an amazing card we got right here, because this card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while on the field and in the graveyard. And if this card is in your hand or graveyard and you have another Machine Cyber monster in your field or graveyard, you can send a Cyber Dragon monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard and special summon this card. Then you can add a Cyber Spell Trap from your graveyard to your hand. Now just amazing one right here. Basically, you wanna link your Cyber Dark Chimera away, then put your Cyber Dark Worm into the graveyard. You will have a Cyber Machine monster in your graveyard. Then you can special summon this by sending Hertz from your deck to your graveyard. You not only get the Search of Hertz, but you have a Cyber Dragon on the field, level 5, which is also amazing for our Xyz plays, of course, and you can recycle one of your spells and traps. Now this is not that important, but great one right here. That's already it for the Cyber monsters. Next up, we talk about the non-engine cards, and the first one is Jitsukiro, the Star-Destroying Kaiju. Of course, we play the Kaijus, just great monster removal for going second deck to get rid of any well-protected or Omni-Negates on your opponent's side of the field. Now I don't have to explain this one, I guess you know the Kaijus. The great one about this one is it's a light machine monster, so you can even search it with some cards, which is just amazing, and we don't have to bother that our opponent has a big monster on the field. We will use it for fusion summon anyways. Next up, we also run 1 Therian King Regulus. Now you might wonder why we play a card like this in a going second build, but you can search it actually with your Clockwork Knight's graveyard effect, so that's also the reason why 1 is definitely enough. But it's just a great Omni-Negate right here, and this is also one of those cards that make this deck even go crazy when you're sent first. Last we round things up with hand traps, and I would like to run 3 copies of Molcharmi Fuvalos. Now I don't own it at the moment, but it would be just a great addition to this deck because of course Fuvalos puts some pressure on your opponent. He will either go full combo and you draw 1 card after another, so you just have everything you need for your combo, or it won't go full combo and you have it easier to break his board. So Fuvalos would definitely be the best choice right here. If you're looking for a budget version, you can basically switch it out with any hand trap. For example, Ash Blossom, Effect Veiler, doesn't really matter at this point. And guys, that's already it for the monsters. Alright, for the spells, we start things off with, of course, 3 copies of Cyber Emergency. Of course, we do Great Searcher in this deck because it has the effect that you can add a light machine monster that can't be normal summoned or set, or 1 Cyber Dragon monster from your deck to your hand. Also, if the activation of this card in its owner's possession was negated by your opponent's card effect and sent to your graveyard, you can discard a card to add this card to your hand. Now, what can I say? Just a great searcher right here for all our Cyber Dragons, basically, or, of course, for our Kaiju. So, yeah, great card right here, definite 3 of course. And for already the last classical Cyber spell, we run 1 copy of Cyber Repair Plant. Also, pretty decent card right here. with the effect that if Cyber Dragon is in your graveyard, you can activate one of these effects, and if you have 3 or more Cyber Dragon in your graveyard at this card's activation, you can activate both effects and resolve in sequence, which is not a problem in this deck, of course. You either add a light machine monster from your deck to your hand, or you target a light machine monster in your graveyard and shuffle that target into your deck. So once again, just another search, but 1 copy is definitely enough in my experience right here. You could bump it up if you want to, but in my experience, 1 is definitely enough. Next up, we run 3 copies of Cyber Dark Realm. Really important card for a Clockwork play, because this card has the effect that when this card is activated, you can add a Cyber Dark monster from your deck to your hand with a different name from the cards in your graveyard. Also during your main phase, you can immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon a Cyber Dark monster. Now the last effect doesn't bother us. The important part is we have a permanent spell we can pop with our Clockwork Knight. Then of course, we also add our Cyber Dark Chimera most of the time. We don't even need to use our regular normal summon and have a search with our Power Bond. So yeah, just crazy good card for your Clockwork Knight combo. Then of course, if you have Cyber Dark Chimera, you also need 1 Power Bond. Also just crazy good classic right here with the effect that you can fusion summon a machine fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material, and it gains ATK equal to its original ATK. Also during the end phase of this turn, this card is activated, you take damage equal to the amount of attack gained from this effect at the time of its summon. Now just doubling one of your Cyber Dragon fusion monsters is just crazy good. Remember the Cyber End Dragon on 8000 ATK, just crazy good right here. But 1 is of course enough, we can search it with our Chimera of course. Next up, we also play 2 copies of Clockwork Knight. Amazing card for this deck with the effect that all face-up monsters on the field become machine monsters, and machine monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense, and machine monsters your opponent control lose 500 attack and defense. You can also banish this card from a graveyard, discard a card, and then add an Earth machine monster from a deck to your hand. Now the last effect searches as regulars, and the first effect is the one we want. Making all of our opponent's monsters machine is just crazy powerful for our Fortress Dragon, so we can just use them as fusion material for this card. Crazy good removal right here. Not a lot our opponent can actually do about it, but I'll talk about it when we get to Chimera Fortress Dragon. Also, the attack increase and decrease is also very useful for an OTK deck, of course. Now, I play this at 2 because you really need this one and you need some spells to discard for your Chimera too. So this one works for me as a 2 of very well. If you hard draw into it, it's basically no problem. You won't need to use your Cyber Dark Realm shenanigans. Better said, your Clockwork Knight to get to this one. So yeah, just grade 1 and 2 in my experience is the perfect ratio. Next up, I would like to run 3 copies of Duality. I only own 1 at the moment, but this card is just amazing in this deck. Because this quick spell has the effect that you tribute a light or dark monster and special summon a light or dark monster from your hand or extra deck with the same original type and level, but a different original attribute. Also during your main phase, you can banish this card from a graveyard to target a light and 1 dark monster in your graveyard, shuffle both into the deck and draw a card. Now, this card is just amazing, because with your Fortress Dragon, you attack, then you use Duality, go into a Twin Dragon and attack twice. Or with your Fleet Dragon, you attack and you go into a Cyber End Dragon. This card is just the one that brings the best OTK potential to this deck, and I don't see why you won't play it. Just an amazing card and definite 3 of in my opinion. Then of course it is a going second build, that's why we run 2 copies of Lightning Storm, basically only to get rid of our opponent's back row of course, because the monsters won't be a problem most of the time. And of course we also play 1 Harpies Feather Duster for the same reason. And guys, that's already it for the main deck. For the extra deck, we start things off with Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. Just amazing card and the best removal we have in this deck. Because this card needs a Cyber Dragon and 1 or more machine monsters, it can be used as fusion material and must be special summoned from your extra deck by sending the above cards from either field to the graveyard, and the original attack of this card becomes 1000 times the number of materials used for its special summon. Now with Clockwork Knight, making every monster of your opponent a machine monster, you can just get rid of your opponent's whole field and bring out your Fortress Dragon. This is just one of the best removals in the whole game. Now what you have to watch out for is it doesn't work if the monsters of your opponent can't be sent to the graveyard. Let's say Macrocosmos is on the field and everything would be banished, then Fortress Dragon of course can't be summoned because they have to be sent to the graveyard. But this actually happens rarely that you can't bring this guy out, and it's one of the best removals out there. Crazy good card, but we have an OTK deck, we only need one. This is definitely enough right here. Next up, let's talk about the duality counterpart of this card, which is Cyber Twin Dragon. Love the design of this one, and just a crazy good card. Needs 2 Cyber Dragons, of course, and a fusion summon of this card can only be done with the above fusion materials, but we won't fusion summon it with our duality, and this card can make a second attack during each battle phase, and this is just crazy good. With Clockwork Knight and the Chimera Tech play, you have a monster with 3300 attack and 2 attacks. In addition to the attack with your Fortress Dragon, this is basically always an OTK. Great card right here, but of course, 1 is also enough. Next up, we run 1 copy of Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon. Also amazing card right here, which only needs a Cyber Dragon monster and 1 or more monsters in the extra monster zone. Also can't be used as fusion material and must be special summoned from your extra deck by sending the above cards from either field to the graveyard, and the original attack of this card becomes 1200 times the number of fusion materials used for its special summon. Now basically another Fortress Dragon with only using the extra monster zone. Now also great removal, of course. Basically a weaker version in this deck of a Fortress Dragon, because with Clockwork Knight we'll be able to just put out the whole field with a Fortress Dragon, but definitely Mega Fleet, also a great option right here. And of course we also run the duality counterpart, which is our good old Cyber End Dragon. Just amazing card, a real classic. I'm so happy I'm able to play this one. Of course, needs 3 Cyber Dragons, and a fusion summon of this card can only be done with the above fusion materials, but duality doesn't fusion summon. And if this card attacks a defense position monster, you inflict piercing battle damage. Now, the great thing about this deck is you can also just bring it out with Power Bond and go for the original 8000 one-shot, and this is just crazy good. I love everything about this deck, and especially that you can bring out the OG OTK Cyber End Dragon with Power Bond. Just crazy good. Next up, we also run 2 copies of Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. Also, just an amazing card that needs 2 Cyber Dragon monsters, and a fusion summon of this card can only be done with the above fusion materials, and when this card is fusion summoned, you can target spells and traps on the field up to the number of materials used for its fusion summon and destroy them. So first of all, it's spell and trap removal, which is important for this deck. We don't bother the monsters most of the time, but the spells and traps can really be a problem for our OTK, and with Rampage Dragon we have another way to get those out of the way. Of course, only if it is fusion summoned, so you'd have to use your Power Bond on this one. Also, once per turn, you can send up to 2 Light Machine monsters from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, for each monster sent to the graveyard, this card gains 1 additional attack during each battle phase this turn. Now, this one is pretty great, because if we use Power Bond, we have a 4200 attack monster and up to 3 attacks, which is also just pretty amazing. The Cyber Dragons are just built for OTK. Now, why do we run 2? Because with duality, we can use any Cyber Dragon we have on the field to bring this guy out, which is also just crazy good. Now, next up, as I already mentioned, Cyber Dragons seem to be made for going second, but they have some really solid going first options, and one we recently got actually in Rota is Chaos Varrock, the Mechanical Dawn. Also great card in my opinion, and definitely worth a slot in the extra deck. It only needs 2 Light Machine monsters, which is of course no problem for Cyber Dragons, and if this card is fusion summoned, you can activate this effect. During the standby phase of the next turn, add 1 card from a graveyard to your hand with an effect that fusion summons a monster, so basically you recycle your Power Bond. Also, when your opponent activates a spell or trap card or effect, quick effect, you can banish 1 face-up Light Machine monster you control or 2 Light Machine monsters from a graveyard and negate the activation. Just great one right here. Next up, we also play 1 Invoked Mechaba. Also, pretty great card. Rarely comes up, but it has the effect that once per turn when a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated, quick effect, you can send the same type of card, monster, spell or trap, from your hand to the graveyard, negate the activation and banish that card. Now, potential Omni Negate right here, and the reason this card is in here, because if we go into a Cyber Dragon Nova, and Nova is destroyed and negated, we can bring this guy out, so only for this reason this card is here. And speaking of Cyber Dragon Nova, it's of course the first Xyz monster we're talking about right here. Only needs 2 level 5 machine monsters, which is no big task in this deck, and once per turn you can detach material from this card to target a Cyber Dragon in the graveyard and special summon that target. Now, you can do this, most of the time you actually won't, but it also has the effect that once per turn, quick effect, you can banish a Cyber Dragon from your hand or face up from your monster zone, and this card gains 2100 attack until the end of this turn. Also boring, but if this card in your possession is sent to the graveyard by your opponent's card effect, you can special summon a Machine Fusion monster from your extra deck. Now that's the point where our Mekaba comes into play, but you all know we only need our Nova for a step up to our Cyber Dragon Infinity. Also amazing and beautiful card right here, which once per turn we can Xyz summon by using our Cyber Dragon Nova, of course. It gains 200 attack for each material attached to it, and once per turn we can target a face-up attack position monster on the field and attach it to this card as material. So once again, great removal if we didn't already with our Chimera Trek Fortress Dragon, for example. Also, once per turn, when a card effect is activated, quick effect, you can detach a material from this card and negate the activation and destroy it. So once again, with this card, you can make sure your OTK goes round because you have an Omni Negate if there are some hand traps or spells and traps or something like that. But of course, also one of those cards that if you get sent first, you can bring out with ease and have an Omni Negate right here. Great one, definitely, but one is, in my opinion, enough. Now we'll have some more Xyz monsters. You could play a second Nova, a second Infinity if you want to, but let me show you what I play instead. And the first one is Stellar Knight Constellar Diamond. Now this card needs 3 or more level 5 light monsters, also no big task in this deck actually. And during the main phase 2 you can also Xyz summon this card using a Stellar Knight Xyz monster you control as material, except itself of course, which we can actually also do. This card has the effect that while it has material, neither player can send cards from the deck to the graveyard, and any card that returns from the graveyard to the hand is banished instead, which is already a great lock. Also, when an opponent's Dark Monsters effect is activated, quick effect, you can detach a material from this card, negate the activation and destroy it. Now, and since Dark is the most common attribute, this is actually pretty amazing. Of course, I mentioned we can Xyz summon it with a Stellar monster, because we also run one copy of Constellar Pleiades. Just an amazing card right here, love the design. Needs 2 level 5 light monsters, very easy, and once per turn, quick effect, we can detach a material from this card to target a card on the field and return that target to the hand. Now this can also be a removal to make your OTK work. If your opponent has something annoying on the deck, you can bounce that way and then go into your diamond. So yeah, just also a great play right here. Then we also play one Typhoon. I guess I don't have to explain that one. Just a great card right here. And for the Link lineup, we run one copy of Clockwork Knight. Also, just an amazing card that needs 1 non-link machine monster with 1000 or less original attack, which is also partly the reason we want 2 hurt, so we can go with it into our Clockwork Knight. And if this card is link summoned, you can send a face-up continuous spell you control to the graveyard, aka your Cyberdark Realm, to add a Clockwork Knight from your deck to your hand. So great searcher, and important searcher right here. It also has the effect that you can target a machine monster with 1000 or less attack in your graveyard, tribute a machine monster except this card, and special summon that targeted monster in defense position. Now the last effect isn't that important. You can possibly bring back a monster that is treated as Cyber Dragon for your fusion plays, for example, but it doesn't come up that often actually. And the final link monster I do not own at the moment, sadly, is Cyber Dragon Seeger. Would also love to run this one. Needs 2 machine monsters including Cyber Dragon, and its name becomes Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard. And during each battle phase, if this card has not declared an attack, quick effect, you can target a machine monster you control with 2100 or more attack, and for the rest of this turn that monster gains 2100 attack. Also, neither player takes any battle damage from attacks involving this monster. Decent card right here, but 1 is of course enough. And guys, that's it for the extra deck. Guys, that's it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, definitely leave a like and a subscription. We're on our way to 500 subscriptions and we want to reach 1K until the end of this year, so your help is heavily appreciated. Then of course, let us know what you think about this deck profile in the comments, and also let us know how you like those kind of deck profiles. Do you like the in-depth version where we explain every effect, or do you want a shorter version where we cut it down to the most necessary effects only? Definitely let us know, we're always happy to improve, and of course to bring you the best deck profiles in YouTube. So guys, definitely check out our combo video where we show you how this deck really performs, and I'd say, until next time, have a good one.